Before we get into the intro, I want to take a second to thank one of my subscribers, Mimi's Art. She is the artist that is behind the beautiful drawings that you see on the screen. She created the perfect Mysterios for my videos, and I hope you guys love them as much as I do. All of her links will be in the description box. Go check her out. And again, thank you so much, Mimi, for working with me to create these for my channel. Now let's get into the video. Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are starting a brand new series about the Queen of Scandals, Miss Trisha Paytas. But before we get into the overview of the video, we need to talk about Trisha's pronouns real quick because I don't want anyone to think that I'm disrespecting Trisha's pronouns. Just for clarification, Trisha has their pronouns listed as she, her, and they, them. I will be using all of Trisha's pronouns throughout this entire series. So now that we got that cleared up, what is this series going to be about? We are going to be taking a deep look into some of the most damaging controversies that Trisha has been through. I personally think that Trisha is a very dangerous person that uses mental health and trauma as a shield to avoid backlash for the toxic behavior that they display online. Even though I do believe that Trisha does have both trauma and mental health issues, I don't believe everything that she displays online is a true version of her life. And you will see why I believe that in this series. I do question some things with Trisha in this video, so all I ask is that you watch the entire video before making any snap judgments and just hear me out on what I have to say and the evidence that I present in this video. So, what's in today's episode? We are going to be looking at Trisha's life before she got famous and how she got famous. I haven't seen a lot of channels focus on this part of Trisha's life, but I feel it is really important to look at when it comes to Trisha because it makes you understand why she behaves the way she does online, why she lies so much, why she self-sabotages every single relationship, where the patterns come from, and why she's just so desperate for attention. We will be referring back to this video a lot in the upcoming episodes, so I highly suggest that you absorb as much information as possible. By the end of this video, you will have a clear understanding of how Trisha became the master manipulator that she is today. But before we get deep into the video, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, turn on all post notifications so you don't miss the next episode of this series. Now, let's get started. Before we get deep into Trisha's childhood, I want to assure you guys all the information that I'm pulling about their upbringing is straight from Trisha. This information comes from YouTube videos that Trisha has uploaded, and we will be referencing clips to back up the things that I'm saying. A huge chunk of this information, though, is coming straight from Trisha's book that's titled The History of My Insanity. I feel this book is a great reference of everything I'm about ready to tell you because Trisha said that she put her heart and soul into this book and was nothing but 100% honest. Check it out.
I don't know. I think it's a very just quick read, but also I feel like there's a lot of information and content in here that is just real. And if you've ever wanted the real Trisha, like everything, I mean, I am nothing but honest in this book. And when I went to go write this book, I wanted nothing but honest, which is very hard for me.
I honestly feel early in Trisha's YouTube career, she was a lot more real and raw with their audience. It's really interesting to watch the change in them online, and you guys will be able to see that in this series. But for now, let's get to know Trisha a little better. Trisha K. Paytas was born on May 8th, 1988 in Riverside, California to Frank and Lena Paytas. Trisha has two siblings, an older brother named Nick and a younger half-sister named Callie. At the age of 3, Trisha's parents divorced. Trisha's mom, Lena, moved the kids to a small town in Illinois named Byron. This is where she spent most of her childhood. Their father, Frank, ended up going out to Illinois for a while, but couldn't find work, so he ended up moving back to California. This is where Trisha started to have abandonment issues because she just didn't understand why her father wouldn't want to stay in Illinois close to his children.
Like everybody, my parents ended up divorcing, and my mom moved us back to I guess Illinois. Is this how this works? I don't know. There's Illinois. My dad, the story goes two ways. Either my dad moved back with us to Illinois and wouldn't look for work, so he moved back to California, or my dad says he moved back to Illinois, looked for a job, couldn't find it, and his only work was in California. Either way, I was like 3 when we were here, and my dad decided to stay in California, which is where my abandonment issues, I guess, began. Because why would my dad want to leave us when we were in Illinois? Why would he want to be in California?
Trisha held grudges against her father for years because he decided to move back to California. She has even said that her and her brother had to go to therapy to deal with their abandonment issues. Put a pin in this because we will be talking about this later. At the age of 5, Trisha's mom married husband number 3, and Trisha's half-sister Callie was born. You guys may know Callie from Trisha's YouTube videos. She used to collab with her sister a lot on her channel, and they seem to get along great.
Collaboration, because nobody wants to collaborate with me, so I make my sister collaborate with me. And by the way, we can just get the comments out of the way. Yes, my sister is beautiful. I get it. She's gorgeous. But there's no need to make fun of the way I look. Just based on
She is gorgeous too, so.
Even though Trisha and her sister get along great now, Trisha had resentment towards her sister for a very long time, 18 years in fact. Trisha would make faces at Callie's crib, and growing up, Trisha said that she made Callie play second fiddle to her. What's interesting about Trisha's book is she doesn't focus on Callie that much. There's very little information about their relationship outside of what I just told you. Trisha speaks really highly of her brother, but Callie is rarely mentioned. So I just found that interesting. Take with that what you will. Also, at the age of 5, she started developing her love for acting and entertainment. There is a quote from Trisha's book, A History of My Insanity, that I want to read. I remember developing my love for entertainment and acting, or as my mom referred to it, as lying. I would make up crazy stories to tell my mom about finding Native American ghosts in our backyard, about me discovering I was a witch and I had magical spells. I guess Trisha's lying got so bad at this age, her mother would put dish soap in her mouth for every lie she told. Okay, I know what you guys are thinking. What kid doesn't tell lies, right, to their parents or use their imagination? It's harmless, right? Well, I would normally agree with you, but this is only the beginning of Trisha's lives and making up stories. So put a pin in this as well because we will get back to this later. Trisha's mother worked 3 jobs to make ends meet, so like her father, Trisha didn't get to see a lot of her mom. Her brother became more of a parental figure because he would be the one that watched Trisha and her sister.
The person who knows me through and through is a few people. It's my mom, because my mom has literally been there for like my whole life. We're always together. Like she basically she raised me on her own in Illinois, all this stuff like that. So my mom and my brother, they're like the 2 people who know everything about me, know all my secrets, all that stuff like that.
At the age of 10, her mom would go on to divorce Callie's father after he had an affair with her own sister. There was also times where he got physical with her mother. Trisha's brother even had to call the cops one time because he was getting physical with their mother in front of them. A few months later, Trisha's mother married husband number 4, a much older man.
So it was like her 4th husband, but like my 2nd stepdad. And he was really old. There's wrinkles on him because he's so old. He was very old and very awkward and took his teeth out at night. Whatever, he didn't last very long. So my mom and him got divorced. Yeah, it was great.
Later in life, Trisha asked her mother why she married that guy, and her mother replied to her for financial reasons. And Trisha said it's the sad truth. I don't judge her. I appreciate her honesty. So Trisha and her siblings did not have much stability growing up. In elementary school, Trisha really didn't have any friends. Trisha said that nobody wanted to play with her, so she just played by herself. She was also bullied a lot because of her appearance.
Very awkward. I had weird body proportions, and I also had a little mustache. A really thick hair lip that everyone used to call me a man. So they'd say I had more rolls than a bakery, and then that I looked like a man. And I had really weird hair and really bushy eyebrows. So yeah, that was me. Growing up, it was pretty sucky.
The kids would also make fun of her because Trisha's father wasn't around. Trisha would tell even more lies to the kids at school to try to fit in. The lies she told to the kids about her father ranged from he was a super rich producer in LA to a secret spy. She would also lie and tell them she had a twin sister named Trixie that lived with him in LA. She would say what she needed to say to make the kids like her. Even though both of her parents weren't a constant presence in her life growing up, Trisha said they they made it up to her by getting her anything and everything she could want. Both parents, especially her father, would spoil her with toys and shopping sprees. The first half of her childhood, neither of her parents had a lot of money, but they didn't care. They still bought her anything and everything she could ever want. This is where Trisha's shopping addiction starts to come in.
I don't know really what to do about a shopping addiction, but there's just no way of curing it. Like, I love shopping. It makes me so happy. And it's a little bit of a problem.
What's this trash? Like, literally, what do you do with that? Saw this collection, and again, like, I probably shouldn't be buying this. Like, I probably should be saving my money for, like, you know, a rainy day or something, but the sun is shining today, so I thought, okay, let's buy some Dior.
In Trisha's book, she described what it meant to have her father buy anything she wanted. Quote, "It made me happy instantly and fixed any doubts or problems I had with my father." End quote. Trisha's mother would get furious when she saw all the toys Trisha would bring home after a visit with her father. Trisha's mother would go on to tell her the only reason he was doing it was because he felt guilty for leaving her. To no surprise, Trisha took this as a life lesson from her mother. She said, quote, "If I make people feel guilty, I get things. Awesome." End quote. I want you guys to remember this quote because I think Trisha lives her life by this mindset. Remember at the beginning where I told you I said I think Trisha uses trauma and mental health as a shield? Well, this is why they constantly use this tactic, because it makes people feel sorry for her and guilty for holding her accountable to her own actions. So definitely put a pin in this because we will talk about it later. At the age of 10, Trisha dreamed of being a child star. She also hoped that she could move back to California to live with her dad full time. But unfortunately, Trisha's time was split between her two parents. Every single Easter, summer, and Christmas, her and her brother Nick would fly out to California to spend time with their father. At this age, her father was just starting to develop his business while working 19 hours a day. His money was mostly tied up into the business, so he lived off credit cards, but that didn't stop him from spoiling both of his kids rotten. They would go to amusement parks, go look at Christmas lights and limousines, went shopping in toy stores all the time, and their dad also let them eat fast food and donuts whenever they wanted. What's interesting about Trisha's parents is they seem like they're the total opposite of each other. Trisha's mom would bring guys around them all the time and had been married 4 times by the time Trisha was 10, whereas her father, Frank, was quite the opposite. He was always so careful about the women he would introduce to Trisha and Nick. In fact, after his divorce from Lena, he only introduced Trisha and Nick to 2 girlfriends in a span of 7 years. Before I move on to the beginning of middle school, I want to give you guys a heads up. This is where things start to get fuzzy with Trisha's story about her life. If you only know about Trisha's life from frenemies, then just know everything I'm about to tell you won't match up with what she has said on frenemies. The thing is, Trish has said the same stories about her life over the past 10 years, but once frenemies started, Trish started to change up her story. I don't know if she is just now comfortable with speaking about certain things that happened in her life, or if this is like a middle school thing where she felt like she needed to make up stories and lie to get attention, or if it's just a mixture of those two things. So I don't want you guys to think I'm just pulling this information from my ass or lying about their life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue telling Trisha's story based on her book and the older YouTube videos, because I still feel she is being genuine. But when it comes to the parts of her story that has recently changed, I'm going to show you what Trisha is saying today, and I want you guys to make up your own mind about it. It's just so hard to know what reality is with Trisha because they are constantly making up stories and lying. So I highly encourage you guys to look at this stuff side by side and come to your own conclusions about it. I do have some of my own opinions about certain things, but I will make that crystal clear when I am giving my opinion on it. But for everything else, I highly encourage you guys to look at the situation for yourself and decide based on what I'm presenting in this video. Okay, so let's get back to it. Fast forward to the start of 6th grade, Byron Middle School, age 12. The bullying was getting worse and Trisha became very insecure about herself. It all started when they had to swim in gym class. Trish said, quote, "I remember walking out in my one-piecer and everyone snorting, making piggy noises. I was so confused. My weight wasn't an issue in my mind at the time. I was about 5 feet tall and I distinctly remember weighing 100 pounds. I didn't think that was big."
I've talked about this in numerous videos. I was never attractive in school. I was never in a clique. I had gone to the same school for the first like 9 years of my education, so up until I was a freshman. And it got really bad my freshman year. Middle school was really tough for me. My mom and I were in the principal's office like all the time, having to deal with girls, you know, harassing me and making fun of me, especially because we had swimming as part of PE, and I know I would get made fun of a ton in PE class for, you know, the way my body shape wasn't a swimsuit, to having pubic hair early in the locker room, and girls would be really nasty, and I couldn't even imagine dealing with that now with camera phones and stuff. I could imagine it could just be a ton times worse.
Now keep in mind, Trisha's book heavily focuses on gym class and how she constantly was bullied in her gym class. This is where I started noticing a change in her story. According to her book, she wore a one-piece swimsuit because kids made fun of her body, but on April 13th, 2021, Trisha uploaded a video titled Female Wrestling. In this video, she makes completely different claims about her bathing suit. Check it out.
I was the only girl not allowed to wear a two-piece when we do our 2-week swim class courses because of my boobs. I was told to put on shorts over my swimsuit because you could see pubic hair through my swimsuit at like 11.
But that's not all. In the same video, Trisha also says she was never bullied in school, and that the main problem in school was classmates and teachers constantly sexualizing her. Check it out.
I used to wear like 3 sports bras, so when I was running, the boys in my class wouldn't, you know, say that I was a distraction, and I would get in trouble for it, and it really sucked. And I changed 4 high schools. Because I wasn't bullied. I wasn't like a nerd, or people weren't mean to me, but it was constantly that.
Oh, but wait, there is more. About 1 month later, on May 18th, Trisha and Ethan were on Frenemies responding to Mike Milak about how Trisha and Ethan were bullies online. Mike made a statement saying Trisha knows what it feels like to be bullied because she was bullied in school. Mike said it so confidently because this is what Trisha has told everyone, this same story since she started YouTube. But in this podcast, she said she was never bullied in school, just like she did in the wrestling video, and also straight up lied and said that she never stated publicly or to anyone that she was bullied in school. Check it out.
And I wasn't getting bullied. I was getting fucked by my teachers, Mike, so I was a little bit darker than you think.
You were getting bullied.
I was like,
that's so funny.
I'm pretty sure I was getting and R-word by my teachers, and the principal didn't believe me, and I had to endure it every
gotta
single
love
day,
what a
so
dumb
thanks,
is.
Mike.
He's like, you were bullied, you piece of shit. You had it coming.
Because they're the people that were bullied. They're the people that were bullied. Like Trisha was bullied.
What is he basing that off of?
Because I'm fat? I don't know.
What the fuck?
I definitely was, and I definitely was.
I love how when it comes to me, he's like, you know, he was bullied, but he says it like a fact. Like Trisha, she was bullied. Ethan, come on, you know he was probably bullied.
I literally never said that ever. And also just like,
Well, the only
myself in 2005. That's why my band is 2005, because it was the most trauma of my life, because teachers wouldn't leave me alone and they come to my house and just R-word me.
I just think, I'm sorry, that's so traumatic, but I think it's hilarious that he calls that bullying.
Is that what he's referring to?
I don't know what else it could
I think
be.
he doesn't know. I think he's just
It's
so, I
just
don't
so
know.
funny how off he is.
Like I said, use your own judgment and come to your own conclusions on what the truth is. I just find it so odd to change a story and lie about things that have been clearly stated online. And she knows she has said this stuff. You guys, she wrote an entire book about how she was bullied in school and posted multiple YouTube videos stating the exact same things.
I was bullied all through, starting at grade school, through middle school, through high school. I went to 4 different high schools because of bullying, because kids were so mean and cruel and vicious to me. Like, it got really bad. Back when I used to get bullied in like real life before YouTube and all that stuff, like when I was a lot younger and more insecure, you know, the best thing that I would do for myself is focus on my goals. Like, if people try to bring me down, I was like, okay, they're already deterring from their dreams by just wasting energy on me. Instead of like trying to fight back or wasting energy worrying about it, I would put my energy into what I knew I wanted to do, which was perform and entertain and get to LA.
But now, according to Trisha, none of that happened. So it just doesn't make any sense to me. But let's get back to Trisha's story. The bullying didn't stop there. One day in homeroom, a classmate asked the teacher, quote, "Why is Trish allowed in the classroom? She's too fat and she should be with the pigs outside," end quote. Before the teacher could say anything, the entire classroom started laughing at her. This hurt Trisha a great deal, and they were so embarrassed. The bullying went on her entire 6th grade year.
Middle school was another situation of just mean girls. Like, there was a lot of name calling, a lot of stuff being stolen, just really bad bullying, where they would have the whole school against me, and that sucked. And my mom would have to come in so many times, and the principal would do very little So it was really bad. I got bullied a lot in middle school, actually. Like, I tried to not make it seem like I did, but I did. Everything. Gym class running, people would make fun of my thighs, or the chafing, or that I couldn't do sit-ups, or that I couldn't pass the presidential fitness test. Like, it was crazy. And I was not, again, not the most unfit, ugliest person in the world. It was just a weird thing.
Trisha tried so many things to fit in. For example, there was a lip sync contest that year. She had everything planned perfectly. She was going as her idol Britney Spears in a red latex jumpsuit. She even got a couple girls from her school to be her backup singers. And the best part of it all, she was able to get her dad to pay for a limo to drive Trisha and her backup singers to the event so everyone could see them arrive in a big fancy limo. Trisha felt like a superstar that she desperately wanted to be. Everyone seemed to have so much fun at the school contest, including Trisha. Nobody said anything mean to her, and Trisha saw it as a success until the following Monday. That's when everyone started to make fun of her by saying how gross she was in her red latex suit and how awful her dancing was. It just ruined that moment for her. Trish idolized Britney Spears since middle school. Trisha said, quote, "She was everything I wanted to be, young, beautiful, blonde, and adored by millions. She was like a living, breathing doll. I just wanted to be like her." Trisha copied and idolized Britney all through high school. I think Trish still idolizes Britney today and strives to be at her level of success.
Lined my eyes, because I thought lining up the eyes was everything. I thought that's the only thing Britney Spears ever did, so that's all I ever did. But I did love me a good brow highlight, because once again, I saw Britney highlight her brow, so I did not know she had other colors on there. I packed on that silver. I was like, this is bougie makeup, and I am a pop star. I am Britney Spears in high school. Yes!
7th grade came and Trisha decided to try out for cheerleading. She wanted to be just like Kelly Kapowski on Saved by the Bell because Kelly was a cheerleader, beautiful and popular. But unfortunately, she didn't make the team. Trisha was so done with trying to fit in with the girls at this point because everything she tried just kept backfiring on her. A lot of her frustration was from the constant bullying in gym class. The popular girls would talk about how fat Trisha's legs were. Trisha had said, quote, "They all wear shorts called Sophie's, but I wore spandex because Sophie's rode up on me." Things got so bad in gym class, she ended up convincing her dad's friend, who was a doctor, to write a note to get her out of gym class so that she could avoid running laps and being seen in shorts. Trisha once again has recently changed the story. It is now the complete opposite of her book because in her book, she specifically said it was her choice with the shorts because the Sophie shorts rode up on her. But now they are claiming that the teachers forced her to wear spandex shorts. She couldn't wear the Sophies like the other girls because of her being overly sized by teachers and classmates. Check it out.
I was the only female when we would be in gym class. All the other girls got to wear short little softy shorts, and when I would wear them, I was told to go put on some spandex shorts, like the biker shorts underneath that are tight on your skin, or leggings. When I was 8 years old, I was in gym class the only person that had to wear spandex shorts. Everyone else got to wear softies, and that was like pretty much my entire career because I had chafing or whatever, or you could see part of my like thighs, which people were like, "Oh my god, her butt is showing."
Some of the stuff is just so minor to me, and some of it is a lot more serious. The thing with Trisha is she really is like a pathological liar. That's why it's so hard to tell what is reality with her. You know that pen I told you to remember about the lying? Well, this is a huge reason I told you to pin it, because Trisha never stopped making up stories or taking the truth and twisting it into something else. I am just more inclined to believe her book. It just feels like a realistic version of her life, but the discrepancies just keep going, you guys. We are only getting started. The summer of Trisha's 7th grade year, husband number 4 moved out and then moved back in and then moved out for a second time all in one summer. This guy, you guys, was a piece of work. He was a violent alcoholic, and because Trisha and her brother would go spend the summers with their dad, it was just her mom and her little sister that was home with this man. Trisha would worry that he would harm her mother or sister while she was in California. Trisha's mom, Lena, even told her multiple times that she was absolutely terrified of this man. That's a heavy worry to carry on someone when you're only in 7th grade. That summer he left, and Trisha's mom promised her that he was gone for good. But the promise didn't last long because after a failed attempt to get back with Trisha's father, her mom went right back to her of husband number 4, shortly after Trisha started the 8th grade. Trisha's brother Nick later confessed to Trisha that he felt abandoned by their mother in a way because he felt like he wasn't good enough to be the man of the house, even though he took care of Trisha and Callie while Lena worked 3 to 4 jobs. He didn't understand why he wasn't good enough for their mother to stop the cycle of bad relationships. Trisha and her brother were always on the same page. They were so close to each other. They traveled together for every visit to their father's house. They had a special kind of bond with each other, and Nick knew everything about Trisha, and Trisha knew everything about Nick.
Hey everyone, it is YouTube time with my family and my brother. I want to introduce y'all to my brother Nick. Who thinks he's not.
8th grade was upon Trisha, and let me tell you what, Trisha was determined to fit in and get attention. Trisha said, quote, "This was the year of Bomb Trish. I wore heavy eyeliner, cheetah print pants, different colored hair, and my mom's water balls. I wanted attention and I was going to get it." Trisha started to become more comfortable with herself and her body at this age, and she was going to use it to her advantage.
The favorite thing about puberty was my boobs. I fully embraced them once I got to middle school. It was weird. I started getting like attention from teachers, which is like weird, I know, and like it's a weird thing. I mean, you just start getting this attention, and I liked the attention. So it was like weird. Teachers and just like other people in general that were just like high schoolers. I was in the play Just Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and like the other high schoolers that were in the show, because it was like a high school production, were like hitting on me. It was like weird, but I loved the attention. I mean, that's not like for everyone. I loved the attention. That was my personal favorite. Yes, my personal favorite thing. That's my personal favorite thing.
It was a new year and a new Trisha. She knew what her purpose was, and that was performing and getting attention. But now Trisha is claiming that she never wanted the attention. Look, I just don't understand it. Trisha claimed for years that she was pretty much invisible in school. She was bullied, and now it's like a complete 180 on her entire life. And to be quite honest, I don't know what the fucking truth is. I would hope that she wouldn't lie about serious things such as SA as a minor, but I really don't understand why she feels the need to rewrite her entire childhood, because that is what she has done over the past 6 months. When Trisha lies, her story constantly changes on things, but the stories of her being bullied and having to switch high schools 4 times because of bullying, all of that has been the same story across multiple YouTube videos and an entire book. So you guys, I'm just confused, which is why I'm showing you everything, because to be quite honest, I don't really know what to believe with Trisha. I really don't. But check out this clip and you'll see what I mean.
I just kept gaining weight because I thought it would turn men off for me. And I still feel that way, because as much as I've capitalized and made money and profited off my and I own it, because when I'm in control of it, I love it, and I think it's a beautiful, powerful thing. But when I'm not in control of it, it really makes me feel some type of way. And I think that's what started my gender identity issues, because I never looked at myself as I never wanted big boobs when I was a kid. I went and did like a full blown caricature of myself. Like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have the biggest boob, I'm gonna have the biggest everything, biggest lips and stuff like that, because that was the hole I was put in my entire life. I'm like, okay, this is what I have to capitalize on, I guess, you know. I never talked to boys my own age, never dated boys my own age, never got asked out with boys, never had a boyfriend in high school, middle school, nothing. And I think it's a mixture of things. One, I was really shut off. One, I was very overdeveloped. And 2, I'm sure a lot of people knew what was going on with me, and being as a minor, and from people in the community and stuff like that. And I think people knew, and I think a lot of people put the blame and shame on me, because, you know, my mom worked 4 jobs, and I don't know, I like literally I didn't even dress sexy. I had like 4 outfits, and yeah, I wore a water bra sometimes to even out my boobs, and people just took that as like that was me being or whatever. And it really sucks.
Look, this part of Trisha's life shaped them into the person that they are today. And this part of Trisha's story was heavily focused on in Trisha's book and so many YouTube videos, which is why I have to show you both sides of this and talk about it. My first thought about this whole situation is, if Trisha was just now comfortable with speaking about certain things that happened to her in her childhood, then why does she feel the need to rewrite the part about the bullying? I don't understand that, because I'm just going to say right now, I think she's straight up lying in the present time about never being bullied. And I think she's lying in the present time about being overly in school, because there is no way she has been able to keep a consistent story over the past 10 years if it was all a lie. So anyways, let's get back to Trisha's 8th grade year. We were talking about how Trisha was determined to get attention. So what did Trisha do to get more attention? She lied. Trisha lied about getting plastic surgery. She made up stories about being extras in movies like Home Alone 2 and The Big Green, and she made up stories about meeting different celebrities. One celebrity she didn't have to lie about was Donny Osmond. Trisha's dad splurged for 2 meet and greet passes. Trisha didn't waste this opportunity to brag about it at her school. When she met Donny, she was able to get a picture with just the 2 of them. Trisha made about 10 copies of that picture and showed them off everywhere at school. She put it on her notebooks, taped it in her locker, put it inside her pencil cases so that everybody could see she met a celebrity. Even though she was being honest about meeting him, Trisha still turned it into a lie to make the story more interesting. She told her classmates that her mom was actually dating Donny Osmond, and that is how she got the pictures with him.
I had a wild imagination too. I used to like make up stories. But like nothing neat. I'd make up stories like, I don't know, more when I was younger. In high school I wasn't really making up stories, but I just kind of have like a vivid imagination. Go figure. I have a very wild imagination, I will say that. I have a weird thing about that. Not that I lie, but it's just like I like to embellish a good story, you know what I'm saying?
Things were definitely looking up. They auditioned, got the lead in the school play, and she nailed the role. She memorized all of her lines and did amazing. Even though the kids still laughed and snickered at how she looked, one of the most popular girls actually gave Trish a compliment, and she said that Trish did an amazing job in the play. Kids started to see Trish in a different light when she did the school play. I want to read a longer quote from Trisha's book about how Trisha felt about the new attention that she was getting. Trisha said, quote, "I liked the attention. I liked people for liking me for doing something impressive. I also liked the attention my water bras were getting me, not from the boys in my grade, but from my teachers. My male teachers always gave me hugs in the mornings. Even my gym teacher hugged me, and I was terrible at gym. I actually started wearing double bras, and pretty soon I didn't have to do homework. I got extra credit for staying in during recess and helping clean boards and all that fun stuff. Male attention was great, and my teachers were hot. My fantasies were wild about teacher-student affairs. They always fascinated me, and for the first time in my life, men wanted to be around me, wanted me to be with them, and not just for holidays and summer." End quote. The clip I'm getting ready to show you goes into detail more about this, and it was posted on April 3rd, 2015, where Trisha goes into more detail about her teachers, which makes the whole situation even more confusing because this isn't the only video where she elaborates on this more, and I will play more clips from it so that you can see both sides of this whole situation and why I'm so confused by it.
I started really crushing on my teachers early on. I know this is like a weird, like sensitive topic. Like people got like weird about it when I talked about it before, that I had crushes on my teachers and I would like hang out, like go to their classrooms to like try and hang out with them and stuff like that. Like it wasn't anything like the teachers did. It wasn't like teachers were like leading me on or anything, you know what I mean? Like, or coming on to me or something. I just was like really attracted to my teachers. Starting from, 4th grade. And my 4th grade teacher was Mr. Brawny, and he was so cute. He had a long ponytail, he had an earring, he smelled like smoke because he was a smoker. Like, I don't know, there was something about him. He was just very nice. He encouraged me in my writing. He was so nice and so hot. I was like so in love with him. And I remember in 4th grade, that was like my first like crush on like a guy. Like I never had like crushes on like boys in my school. Teachers were like the people in my real life that I was like, that I would go to school for. It wasn't until my freshman year of English gym that I had a wrestling coach. He was our gym teacher and English teacher. He was so hot. He was premature gray. He was so freaking hot. Oh, I loved him. And I loved, like, I would always be like, I don't know, like, where do I put the heart? We had heart rate monitors. Like, where do I put the heart? Like, I was like the little Mings. Like, again, no teachers ever did anything appropriate with me. Nothing like that. Like, I don't want to even, like, go there. My biology teacher my sophomore year was, like, my ultimate crush. Like, I just got so turned on by him. Like, so much. Like, I literally, like, got wet in the panties in class over him. He was so hot. And then my college teachers, I was just like teachers, and I like authority figures, and I like people who had control and who were educated and older.
And about 4 or so months later, she talked about her teachers again and how nothing illegal happened with them and that it was just her who had innocent crushes on them.
I wasn't dating. I wasn't going on dates. I had crushes on teachers. My freshman year, I had the biggest crush on a teacher named Mr. Baker.
who was a high school wrestling coach, and he was premature gray, and he was so cute. And he was my English teacher and my gym teacher. Coincidence? I think not. I picked classes specifically scheduled like to be in his classes. We had heart rate monitors, and said I was like, Mr. Baker, I don't know how to get my heart rate monitor on. So I was weird. I was a little Lolita. Well, in the sense that like it was one side of Lolita. Nothing illegal happened with my teachers ever. But like little naughty Trisha definitely was like into my teachers so much. It was weird. I don't know. I probably would have been even more traumatized from life if I ever did anything with a teacher.
Again, draw your own conclusions. I seriously don't know what to believe. I know that children usually suppress trauma at a young age. I have never seen someone talk so positive though about people that cause that trauma, because she generally seems like she looked up to a lot of her teachers, and they were kind of like her only friends at school, and they were kind of like the only people that were nice to her. If she never would have said anything about this in the present time, I would have viewed this as she crushes on her teachers because of her abandonment issues. I mean, it seemed like she just wanted that male figure in her life that was older and had authority. Not in a sick, twisted way, but I just think she missed her father. But with everything now, I really don't know. So Trisha is claiming now that she was abused by multiple teachers from school. The first time she opens up about this is on Frenemies, where she talks about an incident where she was wearing a water bra and the teacher felt her up during Heads Up 7-Up.
It's crazy. I had an incident happen in middle school where a teacher like groped my boobs all the time when we would do like heads down 7-Up. And so when I finally went to the principal about it, he told the principal, well, she's been wearing water bras, so she's been asking for it. Like it's been teasing me. And the principal's like, have you been wearing water bras? I'm like, yeah.
Say what? And the principal was like receptive to that argument?
And he's like, have you been wearing water bras? I'm like, yeah. He goes, okay, well, let's not wear water bras to school. And like, that was my fault because I wore a water bra. I mean, there's been more like that.
Dude, this world is so crazy. What is a water bra?
A water bra was my mom's. It was a bra that it was like water.
You fill it with water?
No, it already had the water in the bra. It was very heavy.
Oh, and you were wearing those at what age?
Like 12, because I had uneven boobs, so I was trying to even my boobs out for real. And he said he would come feel it all the time because we play that game like heads down, 7-Up, whatever, and you have to like put your head down, or when you were done with the test, but whatever. And so he'd come around and like always like grope and whatever. And so he did get arrested. This guy actually did get arrested, but later on. But me, they were like, well, she wears a water bra. And then the second time that happened, it was a teacher and another teacher, a different teacher. And he's like, well, she told me she liked the movie Taxi Driver. So like, or Cape Fear. I'm sorry, Cape Fear. He's like, so I just put my thumb in her mouth to suck it. Anyways, it's a lot. But my trigger, and I laugh because it's so uncomfortable. My trigger is this kind of stuff. But when they say this, well, they wanted it. And people are like, oh, well, did you do that? Did you say you like the movie Cape Fear? Then yeah, grown men should stick their thumb in your mouth so you could suck it.
Dude, the principal literally was like, okay.
Well, the principal didn't say anything the second time. It was the first time that happened.
No, but the fact that they're receptive to that argument.
No, like literally.
is blowing my mind.
Yeah.
And we're as a society.
I think that's why I didn't have friends, because I think they like knew, like they saw my teacher like grabbing me, and I was like, okay.
In this next clip, Trisha elaborates more on this, and she tells everyone that there were 3 separate incidents that happened to her in her school. I'm not going to play the full TikTok because she actually names the teacher and tells people to go look up his arrest, but we're going to hold on that part because I will be talking about that in episode 2 in more detail because I don't have enough time to get into it, but there's a lot I want to talk about on that specific thing. But here is part of that TikTok. Roll the clip.
I've always been vocal on social media because I was silenced. Not to give like a silly reference in this, but I was silenced for so long at my school growing up. I had 3 different incidences with 3 different teachers in regards to SA, R word, and M word. Rhymes with vacation, but starts with an M. It happened in the school, and one principal didn't believe me. 2, I was too scared to speak up. And 3, the teacher said I was like asking for it.
Which again, it makes this even more confusing because she specifically states there were only 3 separate incidents, but months later she claimed that it was happening every single day and she had to endure it every single day, which was the clip that we watched earlier in the video. And I'm going to play that clip one more time really fast just so that you guys have some context.
I'm pretty sure I was getting and R-word by my teachers, and the principal didn't believe me, and I had to endure it every single day.
You gotta love what a dumbass he is. He's like,
all right, you guys, I'm not going to go any further with this. I just wanted to show you what she claimed before versus what she is claiming now. I do have more that I want to say about this in episode 2 in regards to the teacher that she called out by name online, but I highly encourage you guys to listen to her past, listen to her present, listen to everything that I have mentioned in this video, and draw your own conclusions about this. Based on other things I haven't shown you guys yet, mixed in with everything that I have shown you in this video, all I'm going to say right now is something isn't right about this situation, but I'm going to continue telling you Trisha's story based on what I believe is an accurate version of her life. I would love to know your opinions on this, and please, please don't come at me in the comments for showing you both sides of this and being concerned over what she is telling people online, because if she isn't being honest about this, then I think it's so disrespectful to actual victims, and I want to encourage more people to call out this stuff so that maybe Trisha can clear things up, because to be quite honest, it's hurting a lot of people in the process, and we will get deeper into that in episode 2. But let's get back to Trisha's life. The last thing we talked about is her 8th grade year was a huge turnaround for Trisha. She was getting the attention that she craved, and she was getting respect from her fellow classmates. Also during her 8th grade year, husband number 4 finally served her mom with divorce papers, and Trisha started getting more attention from her mother as well. Her dad was a phone call away, and Trisha could just call him up and ask him for anything, and her dad would order what she wanted online and have it sent to her. Trisha said, quote, "I'd be on the phone with him while he was placing the order, and it made me oh so happy. I wasn't the fat girl anymore or Nick's little sister. I was Trish. I was Trish with the money, Trish with Hollywood life, Trish with the connections. I also did local pageants, and my mom got me in local newspapers by paying $50 or so. In Hillbilly Land, that was famous. I made it. So life was great, grand, and good, or at least I pretended it was until the holidays," end quote. Winter break came, and Trish and her brother was off to California to visit their father. Once they arrived, their father blindsided them by saying that he was getting married to Trisha's current stepmom, and it wasn't a month or a year down the road, it was the very next day. Trisha and Nick were shocked, but in a state of shock, Trisha said that she was very happy for them, even though she was livid. Trisha knew with her father getting remarried that there was zero chance for her parents ever getting back together. In her father's eyes, marriage was forever, and the only reason his last 2 marriages didn't last was because both of his wives were not faithful, and that was a deal breaker for him. Trisha and Nick didn't tell their mother of the marriage. She actually didn't find out till over a month later, when she attempted once again to get back with her father, and Frank told Lena that it wasn't going to happen because he was remarried. Trisha's mom was not happy over the news. She ended up getting back with Callie's father for a short period of time after she found out. From this point on, Trisha's parents were in a constant battle with each other, and Trisha was caught in the middle. Shortly after the marriage, Trisha's father sold his startup company for millions of dollars, and Trisha's dad and his new wife ended up moving into a mansion in California, and Trisha wanted so bad to move in with her father. Freshman year, Trisha was still living in Byron, Illinois, and things were a lot better going into high school. She was on the dance team, and she also made the cheerleading squad, but even though it was nothing like middle school, kids were still being mean to her, and she honestly didn't like it. Halfway through her freshman year, her brother ended up graduating a semester early, and on winter break, instead of flying out to California, Trisha and her brother ended up driving to visit their father, because Nick was going to be moving in with their dad to go to college.
Brother graduated early, and he was like my only saving grace, so he moved back out to, look at there's California. Yep, he moved back to California when I was 15. And so at this age is when I wanted to drop out of school, because without my brother, I had no saving grace in high school, so there I am. And people were really mean, whatever, what else is new? They were super mean, and I hated school. And I just wanted to be in California with my dad and be an actress and dreaming of being a star and all this fun stuff. So I asked my mom if I could drop out of school. She said no, but I did convince her to let me move out with my dad, where my brother was going to be staying in the guest house, and my mom's like, okay. Okay. So So that's when I was 15. So I packed my bags and I moved back to California where my dad was, in this little town called Murrieta. They enrolled me in another high school. This is a school right here where the girls were they were stiffs. This was them. They were super skinny and had super long, gorgeous hair. It was like the hills.
So Trisha moved to California with her father. This was what she had been dreaming of for so long. But when Trisha got to California, it was quite a culture shock for her.
Started enrolled in school. It was such a culture shock for me. All I knew was like the hills. And my first day of school, I remember thinking everyone was like the hills. Like the girls who showed me around, because they had to, because they were appointed by, you know, the office or whatever, just to show me around. They were just in their juicy couture sweats with little Ugg boots and like long pretty blonde hair and tan skin and perfect teeth. So like the pretty girls of my school, the pretty popular girls of Byron, they couldn't even shine these girls' shoes. I mean, they couldn't even, the pretty popular girls of Byron still wore like volleyball shorts, and, you know, like bougie was that they got to tan at a tanning bed. These girls spray tanned, acrylics, had the juicy sweats, had designer bags, had boyfriends, they would make out with them. Like it was just a whole, like, convertibles and skipping school and bringing in and out onto the thing. So it was just like this whole other lifestyle. And I was such a culture shock because at this point, I think I wore like denim overalls like the first day I went. Like what? Like I thought that was a cool thing.
So it wasn't what Trisha expected at all. The bullying at the school was at a whole new level as well.
Third day comes around. Oh gosh, third day at Marietta was the worst day of my life at any school. I think mean people. Book bag was stolen. Cell phone was stolen. My hair was cut. Stuff was thrown at me in my child development class. Just horrible names. Like teachers didn't say anything. Teachers didn't care. It just was awful. Like just so mean. Like mean girls. Like and boys, and just it was mean. Teachers wouldn't say anything. I would complain, and I remember complaining to a teacher. And they're like, you're a big girl, like, deal with it. Then I went to, like, the principal's office. He's like, you cannot come in here to tell me about these problems. Like, I had no one to talk to.
So Trisha told her dad this wasn't going to work. She actually told her dad that she wanted to go home to her mother because things were so bad at the school. Her father actually offered to put her in homeschool, which Trisha did for a while, but it was really difficult because you have to basically teach yourself everything. But she actually convinced her father to put her in acting classes, and if she kept her grades up and did well, she could continue those acting classes. So Trisha worked hard so that she could continue doing that, but over time the homeschooling became overwhelming, and on top of that, she really didn't like the rules that she had to follow at her father's house. Her mother was so laid back with her, and she had no chores back in Illinois. On top of that, Trisha really didn't like her stepmom. She pushed Trisha to do work around the house and had weird rules that she had to follow.
Also during the summer, I was having a really tough time with my stepmom and adjusting to her and her rules. Back home with my mom, I never once had to do chores. She did all my laundry. I could just hang and sit around comfortably watching TV, eating snacks, and no one would tell me anything. My stepmom was trying to be mom, telling me I had chores to do. I have to fold towels for everyone in the house. I have to, and we had a maid, by the way, but I still had to clean. I had to clean, I had to do chores, I had to fold towels. If I wasn't doing anything, she was, oh, can you do this? Can you do that? Like, oh, come here and help me with this. Like, vacuum, do something besides just sitting on your butt sort of thing. So I was like, I wouldn't say that's an abuse by any means, but I just wasn't used to it. It wasn't what my mom brought me up for the past 15 years, you know. She was weird. She wouldn't let me lock my doors. Like, she took the locks out of my bedroom. I couldn't lock my bedroom door. She would just come in. Stuff would go missing out of my room, perfumes, and this was a time, again, I had a very vivid imagination, so I think my dad thought I was making stuff up, and even my mom, I don't know if anyone believed me, but stuff would go missing. But again, it's kind of like the boy who cried wolf.
So nothing was going good for Trisha. School was hard, she couldn't stand her stepmom, but her dad was wanting her to stay in California, and at the same time, her mother was wanting her to come back home to Illinois, because I guess her father at some point started asking Lena for child support because he had Trisha full time.
At the same time, I guess my dad had asked my mom for child support now since he had me. So my mom's like, you need to come back here. So this was a very push-pull. Like, my dad's pulling me one way and my mom's pulling the other. So my mom's playing into me not liking my stepmom and using that against my dad. And my dad's very like, it's a better lifestyle for her out here. So it was very push and pull. By the end of the day, or at the end of the day, I was just, with the homeschooling, the stepmom, just all this adjustment, this change, this culture shock. I like, you know what, let me just go home to my mom. and it really upset my dad and my stepmom. It was scary. I actually thought my stepmom was going to try and come help me before I could go home. It was really scary. I would like not sleep. I'd be scared of it. I don't know if that's like, again, that's like, it's not like it's a legit fear, but it was a legit fear for me. Not that I was saying she's like dangerous or abusive, but I was a little scared, but I'm still paranoid about stuff like that.
So Trish went home to Illinois, and the truth came out about her father wanting her in California, because before she moved out with her dad, he was in her ear trying to convince Trish to move out there with them. Right when all of this was going on, Lena heard that Trish's father sold his company for millions and filed with the courts to get more child support. Trish said, quote, "The battle only got worse, not the battle for me. Oh no, who cared where Trish ended up? The battle for money and who got to keep it and who got to take it," end quote. This was the beginning of a long court battle that caused a lot of pain and hurt to Trisha. And put a pin in this because we will talk about this a little later. So Trish was back in Illinois and she did not want to go back to Byron as a failure. So they convinced their dad to continue paying for the homeschool that they were doing out in California. But once Trish got comfortable back in Illinois, she stopped doing her homework altogether. She somehow managed to hide this from her father for a full semester. Once her father found out she stopped doing her schoolwork, there was no other choice but to go back to school in Illinois. Trisha's mother was actually going to let her drop out as soon as she turned 16, but at the time she was still 15. So she had a whole nother semester that she had to do of school before she could officially drop out. So Trisha's mother agreed to move towns so that she didn't have to go back to Byron. They ended up moving to a small town in Illinois called Pecatonica that was about 30 minutes away from Byron. This school was a turning point for her.
Second half of my sophomore year, they're so hillbilly, so hickish. So I go from being a 5 at Byron to a 0 at Marietta to a 15 plus at Pecatonica. I mean, the popular girls were farmers. They wore the overalls. That was the popular girls. So at this point, I had been in California. I got some snazzy clothes. I got a Juicy Couture tracksuit. So I was like the Marietta bitch, right? I was still making up stories. I remember one story I made up is that my dad had got me a sidekick with those cool T-Mobile sidekicks that Paris Hilton had. But I'm like, oh, but I can't bring it to school because it's too expensive. Again, I wasn't too well received, but I was definitely more of an enigma there, if you will. Very like, ooh, she's from California, because I had said that I had moved from California. Unbeknownst to them that I was in Byron most of my life. But I had just moved to California. That's where I transferred from. So that's why I was going with my California story. So they thought it was very cool, very unique, but very different. They kind of make fun of me. They kind of call me Paris Hilton because the simple life was a thing. That was Paris Hilton back in this hick town. And I liked it. I liked being referred to as a Paris Hilton type to me because I loved the simple life and I loved the glamorous life. I was like, okay, I'll take this. So again, not making me popular, but at least it wasn't making me like this like ugh, gross girl that don't even associate with. It was more like, she's kind of weird. She's from California. We don't like them Californians around here, sort of thing. Snobby and pretentious, I guess they thought I was. So I kind of liked it. It was a better image for me that I liked.
Trisha was finally getting noticed. She still was bullied for stupid stuff at the school, but it was more of a jealousy type bullying because she was so different from the other kids. Guys noticed her and guys were attracted to her, and she never really got this much attention before, and she liked the attention. Trish said, quote, "I started myself up a little more. My mom bleached my hair a brassy blonde. I ripped up my t-shirts and threw birds and crap in my hair and I called it fashion. I think with all my dazzle, people didn't notice my weight," end quote. Since this town was so small and the people didn't see much outside of Pecatonica, Trisha would say some really off-the-wall things to see how kids would react. Trish said, quote, "I would say random things like horses don't exist because I've never seen them. Something so outlandish, and they would believe me. It'd get a rise out of people. It was fabulous, and it was attention," end quote. I personally think this is where Trisha grabbed ideas for some of her earlier content on YouTube, because early in her YouTube career, she would upload some pretty crazy videos that was very similar to the things that she would say at school.
But then I wonder, like, okay, dogs can't talk. So do they have brains? Like, yes, they walk, but it's because we're telling them to walk.
I woke up this morning feeling like a chicken nugget. Eating Tide Pods, is it a joke or is it snacks? Eating Tide Pods will not get this ass. I'm eating Tide Pods because I have nothing else to do. I'm eating Tide Pods just to try and be cool. But I think a vampire is stalking me, and I'm not even being a little bit funny about it. But what is it? The fuck? I can't make that shit up. The fuck was that? The fuck? Crazy shit, man.
So yeah, early Trillin' Trish started her junior year at Pecatonica High School. But yeah, the school was a good fit for the most part. The other thing that picked up attention at the school was Trisha's fast talking and fast reading. When it came time to read in class, all of Trisha's classmates would pick her so that it would get done faster. Trisha loved the attention from this. She would actually get in trouble for reading too fast in class. So I believe that this was the point where she saw the attention that she would get from all this fast talking, and she used it later online to boost her career.
You're so happy, aren't you?
You're so pretty. It's like looking at a mirror.
Yeah.
You're putting out your body. I'm really happy. All right.
Okay.
Stepping on a spider has to be the scariest thing in the world. Actually, do you know what would be scarier if after putting on the one shoe, I recklessly put my foot in the other one and discovered that I was teaming with hundreds of spiders. All the babies were in there. A whole, let's see, it's got goose geese, school of fish, what is a group of spiders called? Oh, no, I remember a whole circle of spiders. That'd be the scariest thing ever. Unless you're camping out in the woods, or not even camping, or even in the woods, you're sleeping in your backyard. I don't know, maybe you like the great outdoors, but you just want to come home and maybe play with something. Okay, that doesn't go down. It's only when you get back that you realize what you got, but you have too much spiders. Even though your dog's got two inside the window with an impression, that's a mixture of pity and confusion. So, and this is the scary part, you're in the backyard and you're just about to doze off and start feeling something funny. Now, but it could be weird funny, so you look inside your sleeping bag and there's a snake going up. You're like, that just blows the spider thing out of the way. It's not possible to get any scarier than that.
Wow.
It's just really interesting to me how much her middle school and high school experiences shaped her as a person, and how much she used it to boost her career, and how much it reflects on her as a person today, which is a huge reason why I thought this video would be interesting to people. When I was in high school and middle school, I grew up and I never looked back, and it didn't really bleed into my adulthood like it has with Trisha. I know everyone is different though. I just find it all so interesting with her. That's why I want you guys to absorb as much as you possibly can with this video, because we will be referring back to this video a lot in the upcoming episodes I have planned. But let's get back to Trisha's life. So she was at Pecatonica High School. She was getting attention. Everybody thought she was so different. She was on the golf team at the school, and she also tried out for cheerleading, made that team. The girls, however, at the school made up some pretty vicious rumors about Trisha out of jealousy, and during this time Trisha still crushed on her teachers, and the kids would make fun of her for that as well.
There's two teachers that were my saving grace here. Mr. Hartz, who was my Western Civ sociology teacher. Oh, Mr. Schmidt. He liked me. He was the hot teacher. But my personal favorite hot teacher was my Mr. Dunn, which it was my junior biology teacher. He was so yummy. So, anyways, I survived sophomore year. Went out to California for the summer. Came back. Junior year was starting, and junior year. So he was my junior year biology teacher, and it was great. So with this, I got made fun of a lot for my fondness for teachers, but it wasn't sexual. I never made it like a. Obviously, I was not comfortable with my sexuality when I was, what was I, 16 at this point. So it was more like calling me a suck up. And there was, they spread vicious rumors at the school, like really crazy ones I would hear about myself. And just, this was maybe the first time of bullying where people wanted me to myself, sort of thing. Weird stuff that I wouldn't, that I was in a cult, that I someone, that I killed my father, that my father tried to kill me, that I was the teacher, that just stuff that could be really damaging was going around, and it was this whole new form of bullying where it was serious.
Now at this point, because the rumors were so out of control, Trisha's mom allowed her to drop out of school. So they went to the school, she dropped out. A couple weeks later, there was an opportunity for her to be in a play where she had the opportunity to play a glamorous character called Penny Palmer. But she couldn't be in that play unless she was enrolled in Pecatonica High School. So 2 weeks after dropping out of school, Trisha ended up going back to school.
So yeah, I just went back and I did the play, and it was really fun. I got to be this Marilyn Monroe character. It's called Swing Fever, I think. And so I got to be this Hollywood starlet from California in this small town, and her name was Penny Palmer, and everyone's like, oh my god, Penny Palmer. And there was a redhead named Josh in the play who was super hot, in my opinion, and I just kind of stayed with it because he was, there was a rumor that I posed naked for Playboy even when I was 16. He's like, we heard you pose naked for Playboy, that's so hot, you want to take some more pictures of you. So I had never got this sexual attention before, so I kind of liked it. And I played into it.
After the play was done, Trish was actually thinking about dropping out again. She actually was going to become a stripper if she followed through with it. Her mom surprisingly supported Trish becoming a stripper if that's what she wanted to do. But the main reason Trish decided to finish school was the biology teacher that she had a crush on, Mr. Dunn. He encouraged her to be the best that she could be and always told her that she was bigger than Pecatonica.
So I probably would have quit if it wasn't for the hunky, look at this, I'm just gonna have to draw him out right here. My hunky biology teacher, Mr. Dunn, he had beautiful eyes. Let's just take a little more time to draw him. He's very handsome. and he had glasses, which was very smart looking of him. And he used to like lend me movies and stuff. And but he doesn't look. He looks better than this. Let's just make his hair cooler. His name was Mr. Dunn, and we used to play like movie trivia and stuff in his class. And like I'd always go to like his classroom during like homeroom and like flirt with him because I liked him a lot. He was really smart and just like really encouraged me to like that I was like better than this little farm town. So he's the reason I stayed, just because I was so like in love with him. Otherwise I would have quit.
So like a lot of the teachers that we've heard in this video, Mr. Dunn was more like a role model to her, and he encouraged her to be the best that she could be. Yes, she had a crush on him, but once again, Trisha said nothing illegal ever happened with this teacher. In her book, she specifically said it was only a fantasy. Trish said, quote, "Mr. Dunn never gave me the D, but the fantasy and tension were enough for me. He is the only one that I miss from childhood. He is the only one I ever care to see again." End quote. During Trisha's junior year at school, Trisha's parents were still in a nasty custody battle where Trisha's mom was fighting for more money, which is what I told you guys to pen earlier. Trisha was being dragged to court every month, and it came to a point where Trisha's mom was forcing her to testify against her own father. This was something that Trisha did not want to do. Trisha loved her father so much, and she did not want to say anything negative about him in front of a judge. Trisha said, quote, "I bawled uncontrollably in the courtroom. I couldn't catch my breath. And at that point, I didn't want to catch my breath. It was the only time in my life I would rather be dead than alive. And that was the lowest point. My dad said, 'Stop,' before I spoke, and he said, 'No more.' I will always have so much respect for him stopping that court session. My dad saved my life that day because I did not want to go on living if I had to choose between my mom and dad. He hugged me and said everything was okay." End quote. Trisha's father ended up giving her mother a good chunk of cash that day, so Trisha didn't have to choose. Late summer 2005, senior year was finally here for Trisha. She was almost done with school. Trish said, quote, "Senior year was my living hell. That was when I turned from emotionally unstable to full-on Trish needs help." End quote. It's very unclear what exactly happened during this year, but Trisha's mom had a new boyfriend during this time that Trisha refers to him by the name of Tiger. She said that he would walk around the house naked, he would sit on her bed naked, and he stole her DVDs. But Trisha's mother never believed her. Trisha said, quote, "I did have a past of lying, but I never lied about Tiger." End quote. Trish and her mother during this time started to really not get along because of this boyfriend. It was like her mother chose him over her. It got to a point where Lena turned Trisha's own sister against her. In Trisha's high school dropout video, she elaborates on this a little more, but it's very vague about what her mom's boyfriend actually did to her. Here's the clip.
My mom, my sister, and I were not close at this time. My mom had a boyfriend who, she was working at a country club in Freeport. She had a boyfriend who was like the manager, and yeah, I had some, this is a whole other video, and I really kind of don't want to get into this because I'm trying to keep this kind of lighthearted, but, it was not a safe environment for a 17-year-old to be in. Again, because I have an imagination, I think when I talked about this stuff, like, I think people thought I was made up, so I learned to just zip my lip, and I did not tell my mom a lot of stuff, and my mom still doesn't know about a lot of stuff to this day. I don't necessarily blame her, because when I first started saying stuff, it was very little things, like, it was very little things that weren't sexual, just like, Trish, stop, because I was never a fan of her husbands. She's been married a couple times up to this point. I was never a fan of them, and that was known. But I just had some, traumatizing, I block it out. I block a lot of this out. I don't talk about it because a lot of this stuff has been blocked out, where even when I go to therapy, I don't know a lot of the stuff that's happened because I block a lot of it out, and I can remember certain things. And so my senior year, my mom and I barely talked to each other. I think that's why I made more of an attempt to be more social with people, because I did not like being at home. My mom had turned my sister against me. She didn't like me. My sister thought I was just like, I don't know. It was not good. Nobody liked me. I felt it.
This is just my personal opinion, but to me, this seems to be the real trauma she experienced as a minor. She said on the Frenemies podcast that 2005 was the worst trauma of her life, but for some reason, they claimed it was their teachers that were coming to their house and doing this stuff to them. Those were the clips that we watched earlier in the video. What's interesting is that Trisha recently posted a video as well, and she talked about a car crash that she caused in 2005.
Share the story already, but like I have some pretty deep roots in 2005 and a deep connection of like wanting to be Gerard Way. I had something similar with Brittany, but it's just like a lot. It was like a car accident I was in 2005, and like one that I caused, and I really don't talk about it that much. No one died or anything in it, but like I just wanted to end myself basically. But like I didn't know that at the time. Like it was a whole thing. And so when both our cars collide, I just remember like hearing that, and then like obviously the song was out, so like I guess like I just heard it through the song, but like there's like a whole level.
Look, there's a big portion of her book talking about her mom's boyfriend. Like I said before, she doesn't say anything about what he did to her, but when I was researching this and heard her actually talk about it in the high school video, it all started to make sense to me. And this seems to be a more realistic version of her actual life based on the stories that she has told over the past 10 years. Trish has a habit of taking the truth and spinning it into a completely different story. And if I'm right about this, it is very disappointing that it's being spun into being about the teachers that helped her throughout her childhood, because they seem to be her only support system. They encouraged her to do the best that she could, and until recently, she has always spoke highly about her teachers. In 2005, Trish was at Pecatonica High School, and she looked up to two of her teachers a great deal. In a vlog that she posted a long time ago on her channel, she went back to her old high school. She spoke about wanting to see these teachers and reconnecting with them, but the day that she came, she was unable to see them. Check it out.
So we're here in front of the school. We got let out early, which is sad. And teachers aren't a teacher institute thing. I don't really know, but this is cool. It's different. You gotta like buzz to like get in. I'm like, and I'm like, no guns. I'm like, what the heck? So anyways, here we are in front of it. I tried to see you guys and Peck. It just didn't work out. The story of my life. So I moved away. So he said to come back at 2:30, but I'm like, that just sounds like so much work. So anyways, this is it. The cold fur. So I just Instagrammed me in front of my high school, proof that I was here. I really wanted to be like, fuck you, Pecatonica High School. I don't know, I came back from nostalgia. And then I got let down in disappointment because I couldn't see my favorite teacher. I couldn't see the people on Facebook that asked me to come. It was very disappointing, much like my whole career here in Pecatonica, which solidifies why I hate Pecatonica, because the guy who was at the door said, oh, the teachers are all in a meeting in the cafeteria, which was literally like 2 feet away from us. And we're like, oh, can we just like see him? I'm in LA for one day, like just for like 5 minutes. Not possible while they're in the meeting. It's very important. I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? This is so stupid. Like, oh, anyways, that guy was weird. But whatever. It was, I would say it was exciting to see my high school again, but it's not at all, actually. Why do I care so bad to try and get a little piece of nostalgia when no one liked me here anyways? No one likes me here now. Everyone's like, bye. So
yeah, she was so disappointed that she couldn't even say hi to her favorite teacher. This is what I'm gonna say. I absolutely believe that Trish went through some trauma as a minor, but I don't believe what she claims today is a true version of her life. I believe it's an embellished story that she based on experiences that she actually went through. And I do feel for her in that aspect, that she went through something really fucking traumatizing and her mom could have cared less. But I don't agree with the damage that's been caused to the people in the schools that she has called out to her millions of followers. It would be a different story if she wasn't actually causing damage to people with the stories that she tells, but that's not what has happened. We will definitely get into the damage that has been caused in episode 2 though, but let's get back to Trisha's senior year. So Trisha and her mom were not even talking to each other during this time. Their relationship was falling apart. She couldn't even talk to her sister about anything because her mom turned her sister against Trisha. But things at the school were actually going very well. The students were actually getting more used to her, and she ran for homecoming queen. And Trisha actually won. Trisha says it wasn't because of popularity. It was because the girls she went up against were not liked at that school at all. So everyone ended up voting for her. Check it out.
I was also voted homecoming queen. So everyone's like, you were popular, because I posted on my Instagram. No, I was not popular. Towards my senior year, more people were like warming up to me because I only moved to Pecatonica when I was a sophomore. So I was like kind of new and they were like warming up to me more. And also they hated everyone else, so I kind of won by default because like all the cheerleaders were nominated and everyone kind of hated all of them. And I was like I wasn't really hated. I wasn't like popular, but I wasn't like super like hated. People were just like mean as they were to everybody.
This was a huge moment for Trish being voted homecoming queen, and because Trisha and her mother were not close like they once were, Trisha's mom could have cared less about her getting the crown. They had a bonfire and lip syncing contest the night of homecoming, and Trish sang to Miss Britney Spears again. She had such a wonderful night, but unfortunately her own mother didn't show her that she was proud of her and wasn't there for her in that moment.
When I got homecoming queen at the lip sync bonfire thing at the game, like no one even cared. My mom did come to the ceremony and took pictures, but it wasn't a big thing. Like we were always close where if something big happened, we celebrated. My mom did not care. She's like, I'm busy, I got stuff to do. Great, that's nice, bye. And she didn't even, it was just, it was really hard. It was very hard.
Trish also got voted most likely to be famous, which is kind of ironic considering how things worked out for her. Graduation was finally here and Trish was ready to get out of Pecatonica. She had just turned 18 a few weeks before graduation. She started to have boxes shipped to her father's house in California, and the day of graduation she grabbed her diploma and said goodbye to no one, not even her favorite teacher, and that is the one thing that she regrets, is not saying goodbye to Mr. Dunn. She also did not say goodbye to her mother or sister because their relationship was so broken at that point, but Trisha was off to California to live with her dad and pursue her dreams. After moving to California, Trisha did go to college for a short period of time, and she also landed some small parts on TV, but after a major falling out with her father, Trisha ended up quitting college and moving out of her dad's house. Her dad stopped paying for everything, and Trish ended up turning to stripping, which then turned into escorting. While Trish was stripping and escorting, she was still getting small acting gigs here and there, and she also found MySpace where she would post some really risque photos, which gained her a decent following. During this time, YouTube was really the only platform where you could upload longer videos. So that is what Trish started to do for her MySpace fans so that they could get to know her better. Her first upload was a rapping to Vanilla Ice.
Hey, what's up? This is Trisha. I'm super fun, super bubbly, have many talents, but one hidden talent. I'm a rapper. Alright, stop. Collaborate and listen. Ice is back with my brand new invention, something.
Trisha's early YouTube videos were mainly about Quentin Tarantino because she was a huge fan of him. She would act out scenes from Quentin's movies, and she even originally named her YouTube channel Grindhouse Barbie.
Welcome to the Grindhouse Barbie Show with your host, Grindhouse Barbie. And I have a very, very special guest today with me. Special guest, please come out. Quentin Tarantino. How are you, baby?
She would also sing, dance, and rap a lot for her channel before transitioning her content and more sit-down, get-to-know-you type videos. Trish continued going to auditions and landing small parts here and there. In 2008, Trisha ended up on a game show, The Price is Right.
Come on over here, give it a big spin. You get 2 tries as close as you can to $1 without going over. And it's a lot heavier than you think it is. Whoa, there you go. You want to say hi to anybody while it's spinning?
Hi to Quentin Tarantino.
Then in 2009, Trisha landed a huge opportunity as one of the main parts in Eminem's We Made You music video, where Trisha played an overweight Jessica Simpson. Trisha also made appearances on The Ellen Show for her fast talking and also America's Got Talent.
Trisha, I couldn't understand anything you were saying.
Yeah.
Because it was that quick.
I mean, I'm not really a rapper. I just need to make up a talent to see how it turns.
Oh, well, that's different. Now you're talking.
In 2010, Trisha also landed a spot on the reality show My Strange Addiction, where she claimed she was addicted to tanning.
My name is Trisha, and I can't stop tanning. I mean, I could stop tanning, I just don't want to stop. The law in California states you can only tan once every 24 hours. But the way I view that law is it's only once every 24 hours at that salon. Well, currently I'm a member at 6 salons, and I go to all of them if I have something big going on. I try and make stops because they're all kind of in a row on the same street.
A few years ago, Trisha went on Logan Paul's podcast, Impulsive, where they claimed the entire tanning addiction was fake just so that she could get a spot on the show.
You were on a show, right? A show like My Strange Addiction for tanning?
Oh yeah, but that was bullshit. Like I wasn't really addicted to tanning.
Okay. So everything I'm about to say is completely irrelevant.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been addicted, but definitely not to tanning. I just did it to get on the show because it was like new, and they're like, "We're looking for people with addictions," and I was like, "All right."
You faked the tanning addiction
For sure. Yeah.
for clout.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, at least you didn't fake a marriage. Am I right?
Which is funny because after getting called out by James Charles in 2020, Trisha uploaded a TikTok saying that she did in fact have a tanning addiction, even though she already admitted that the whole thing was fake.
I had a really bad addiction to tanning, and I know that sounds silly to a lot of people, but I was actually on the first season of my strange addiction for tanning, and it was a real psychological problem, as most addictions are. I've had several identity crises in my life, and tanning was this way to not be myself anymore. I liked my aesthetic, I liked the way I look, but it really did go too far to the point where my organs were being damaged, and I had to have skin cancer in me removed, and I've never talked about this before. So this wasn't blackface. This is a really emotionally damaged person covering up her lack of identity through tanning. This makes me really sad. This is a really sad girl. I wasn't trying to be black. I was just trying so hard to change everything about who I was.
As you can see, Trisha's really good at lies and manipulations because seeing the clips side by side, you really can't tell which clip is the actual truth because they make it so believable. Trisha would troll a lot on her channel and do really stupid things, like making out with a tree or eating tampons, anything to get attention from people, which landed her the label of being a professional troll. Her first taste of backlash on a massive scale was when she uploaded a YouTube video being a complete ditzy blonde type character, talking about the reasons why she was going to vote for Mitt Romney.
Anyways, I am fully supportive of Mitt Romney, and there are a few reasons why I'm going to be voting for Mitt Romney in this election. Because he is super gorgeous and hot, and we haven't really had a hot president since like Kennedy, but we all know how that ended. Then another reason I'm going to vote for Mitt, well, my kitten is named Mitts. So I think it's actually Mittens, but we call him Mitts for, short. So yay, that's like a sign, I think, right? And Mitt rhymes with tit. No, I'm just kidding. But I have two of those, so. But that's not the reason I'm voting for him.
Trisha eventually quit stripping. She also reconnected with both her mother and father. Family always has been really important to Trisha. Trisha seems to see her mom and sister a lot. They live relatively close to her and make appearances on her channel quite often. They have a very tight relationship, it seems. Within the past year, Trisha actually bought her mom a house because she's been so successful on her OnlyFans. As far as Trisha's dad goes, it's unclear how often Trisha sees her father in the present time. He currently lives about an hour and a half away from her, but going off of older YouTube videos, Trisha used to make an effort on a monthly basis where she would drive down, hang out with her father, and play poker and spend time with him.
I like to go down to my dad's like once a month. I should go down more actually, but he lives about 2 hours away from me, so I just go down, we play poker, have breakfast, spend the day together, and it just works out kind of nice. I just really love my dad. My dad's one of my, so weird. My dad and I, we were close when I was like a kid, and then like I became a teenager / young adult at 18 and just did not see eye to eye. I felt like he didn't support me. It was just, you guys kind of know the story. And I don't know, I just like distanced myself from him, and I thought he like didn't love me, didn't care about me, and now it's like I just feel like kind of closest to him. I mean, I know you always go back and forth with family, like who you feel closest with, but my dad is someone now that I think the most close to, because we have, I guess, we're the most spiritual and godly, I think, of our family. We just like to get together and talk about like God and stuff, and not, I don't know. I don't know. I enjoy it. Most my dad and I have very similar interests when it comes to music and Elvis and movies, and we're just like, I don't know, we're just kind of on the same page a lot of the time, and that's really cool. So, I am close to my mom, but my dad and I have become like super close, and I'm so happy about that. But
it's unclear if Trisha still makes this kind of effort today, but it seems like they still have a good relationship, and her father is still married to the stepmom that Trisha doesn't get along with. It's even more unclear what happened with Trisha and her brother. Trisha's brother works at a high-profile company, makes good money, and has a very normal life with his wife and child. So what I'm getting ready to tell you as far as their relationship goes is just rumors and speculation. I cannot confirm it either way, so please keep that in mind. I have seen two different scenarios about their relationship. The first scenario is that her brother is extremely embarrassed of her and they rarely talk to each other. The other scenario that I have seen is that they still have a relationship, but Trisha doesn't mention him very much in order to maintain his privacy. Trisha came onto YouTube as this bubbly, ditzy blonde that would literally talk about anything anything. She was different and unique. Trisha reminds me a lot of like the character of Paris Hilton, and I think Trisha took a lot of that through her high school years, because in her book she mentions a lot how she really liked Paris Hilton in The Simple Life. And I'm just talking about like the character, not the behaviors, because Paris Hilton is nothing like Trisha Paytas. I just want to make that crystal clear. But the early version of Trisha online, they play this dumb blonde character with this high-pitched fake voice because it's what people like to see. It's so funny to watch old clips of her compared to very recent clips of her, because their voice has completely changed. Check it out.
Welcome to, here it is, finally. Everyone's been asking the what's in my purse video. This is probably my 4th or 5th what's in my purse, and it is with my Celine Python bag, and I absolutely love it. This is the fuchsia color for fall 2014. I have my phone, and my phone is just the iPhone 6 Plus. Just looks like this, and I think I had that in my last what's in my purse, which was my Balenciaga bag, which I still really love. Okay, hi. All right, are we all over being fucking sensitive pricks here on the internet? Cool, I love that. Birkins, I do use my pink one. It's like over there a lot. I love it. This is a cute little black one. I don't know the names of these, but I love how mini it is.
Although I think Trisha did have a higher pitched voice when she was in high school, I think a majority of it was exaggeration and it was all fake. Slowly through the years, Trisha started using her normal voice and didn't have to fake it anymore. I honestly don't think many people noticed this change in her voice over the years. It's just really interesting to me. I do see comments here and there when I was doing all the research for this video, where if I was on an older video and I looked through the comments, some people would be like, man, what happened to her voice? Is just really interesting to me. Throughout growing up from elementary school to her senior year in high school, Trisha has always played a character that they created. This character was created as a shield to stop bullying and get attention from kids. She would lie, make up stories, and say dumb things to get attention. The Trisha that you see online today is still this character, but the character that you see online today is a lot more dangerous. The lies aren't light-hearted, harmless white lies. They are damaging, shocking lies that could potentially ruin other people's lives. Trisha has also become the bullies that she hated in high school. Trisha is obsessive with her online bullying. The minute anyone mentions them online, they jump on every social media platform that they have and they rip them to shreds. Trisha's tactics to become famous have worked for her. She has gotten the attention that she has craved for years, but at what cost? Why does she feel like she needs to bully and harass others online to be relevant? And why does she feel like she needs to lie and manipulate very serious and traumatic situations to get attention or be accepted by the internet? So buckle up, you guys. We got a lot more to get into. I hope you guys enjoyed this deep dive into Trisha's childhood. I'm very nervous about this video because I know the mentality of the internet is to believe all victims and don't question them at all. So it kind of terrifies me to put out this video, but I'm not the only one that has noticed these things about Trisha. But every time anyone questions it, they get attacked. So I really hope like all the evidence that I put into this video makes you guys see why I'm so concerned about everything. Before I end this video though, I do want to read a post that I found on Reddit about someone that was very bothered by Trisha's discrepancies in stories that she was putting online. This person said, I believe fully that this woman is suffering from various mental health issues, and she has a notorious reputation for starting trouble. However, why is it that people think that she can get away with what she does because she's mentally ill? Yes, she does receive backlash to a degree, but why are people flocking to her side as though she is not deserving of the consequences? Here is my issue with it all. People are allowing her behavior because of how much she's been through. Yes, I believe she has trauma. However, I do not think it as much as she claims. Every single episode of Frenemies, a new story of hers emerges, and it's as sad and heart-wrenching as the last. Though I believe it's all lies. Maybe she did get held at gunpoint, or maybe she did get her house broken into, and of course she gets death threats. It's the stories of the continued SA, kidnapping, trafficking, abuse. When does it end? I find it highly unlikely one woman that is known for attention-seeking behavior has experienced all of these things in all of her stories. I post a comment saying this on some of the videos and people flock to me. calling me a monster for victim blaming, but I don't think she's as much of a victim as she claims. I'm just disappointed that people are letting her get in away with her delusions, and it's not helping her. The people that claim to love her are not helping. And then they went on to say, I know how hard it is to not be believed, and you almost feel like the world is gaslighting you. I'm a survivor of SA, and it's the hardest thing ever. That's why I believe I feel so strongly about her lying about it. Like I said before, I do believe that Trisha has went through some trauma in her childhood. I do believe she has went through some trauma in her adulthood as well, but I do not believe that everything that she puts out online is 100% honest. And lying and twisting the truth about certain incidents is hurting a lot of people in the process. I understand the frustration of this person and the fear of speaking up against some of the things that Trisha says online, but in my opinion, she's gone too far with the stories that she is telling, which is a huge reason I am showing you guys everything, and we will get deeper into the people that she hurt in episode 2. I hope this video gives you a good perspective on how the character of Trisha Paytas was born online and how her life molded her into the manipulative narcissist that we see online today. I appreciate you guys for hearing me out on some of the more serious things I talked about in this video. Episode 2 will be out in a couple weeks, and before we go, I would like to take a second to thank all my members. Thank you to Beyond Help, Jilly C, Starla, Boy Mama, The Dark Magician, Susan, Sam, Phoebes, My Love Floral Foam, Lori, Leah, Stephanie, Lee, Liz, Diana, Claire S, Smiley Mama, Bugsy B, Doublemint, and Ginger Snap Girl. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for being members of my channel, and to everyone else, thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Bye guys.